Hi everyone, great to see you here today. Can I get a hello in the chat, just to so that you can use the chat, maybe a wave. You can try the icons, and that way I know you can hear me. Yay! Thank you very much. All right, the numbers are slowly increasing, but we have a fair bit to get through, so we're going to get through it. Hello, hola. All right, so I would like to acknowledge the Gumbaynggirr peoples as I am sitting upon their country, and they are the traditional custodians of these lands. And I'd like you to take a moment to have your feet on the ground and to feel present and connected to the country that you're sitting on, and for you to acknowledge these lands that were never ceded and the traditional owners of these lands. And a warm welcome to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people present with us today. So I'm Nigel, I'm a psychological coach with Uprise. I'm a psychotherapist and counsellor and consultant of varying kinds and a trainer. And I've spent a lot of time, about 3 decades, working in this space. So I have a lot to offer. I also have in terms of money, I have a Master's of Business Administration, which makes me sound fancy. I'm also a lawyer. Not that that really helps with in the money side of things. And I've done a lot of my own investing in shares and in crypto and in property and just understanding money and markets and finances and accounting and tax and all that sort of thing. Though today is not really going to be about that. Today is going to be about the mindset side of things. So we're going to tune into what your attitudes are to money, mula, wampum, and see what's getting in the way of you and your financial health and well-being. So we're going to start with looking at the worries, and a lot of people are worried about money at the moment. So we're going to touch on that briefly. It's not this webinar. It's not really about how to deal with those money worries. It's about how to actually get the right mindset to being okay with money. But money worries is a good place to start. Then we're going to look at your relationship with money and the history of your relationship with money. The way you are with money, the way you are with everything in this world comes from somewhere, and it's a combination of nature, your biology, and your nurture, your experience of the world growing up, and then your experience of the world as an adult, and that all forms the way that you feel about money, about wealth, about finances, about taxes, about all of these things that surround this thing called money. Money being the thing that makes the world go round. So we're going to drill into your beliefs about money, and hopefully, it's not easy because I'm not there with you, but hopefully you sort of get to the end of a bit of a process and go, oh, okay, I can tune into what I believe about money, and you have a clear sense of, okay, the relationship between the beliefs that you've formed about money and you and the world, and how that is creating the circumstances that you find yourself in. Once we've tuned into that, we've done a deep dive into your beliefs, then we're going to go through another process, which is going to be um, about retraining that thinking and teaching you how to change your thought processes, change your feelings, and change your belief system about money. Can't guarantee that you'll get major results today. You might, but this shows you how it's possible, and certainly starts that process of helping you realize that what you think about money is not the reality about money. It's just a set of beliefs that you've formed over time, and that's the core message that you're going to get from today. So worries about money are very, very common, particularly at the moment. The cost of living is going up. As a therapist, I'm hearing about people's anxieties all the time, and there's a combination of the very real anxiety, and then our media just loves to fuel our anxieties. We got this all through COVID and lockdowns, and now it's there's always a crisis. There's always something else. There's a war in the Ukraine, and now there's a crisis around interest rates going up and the cost of living going up, because the consumer price index is so high, and it is. You go to the shops, and I was just chatting to my dad the other day, and he goes, There's this block of cheese, he's 85, he goes, this block of cheese was $8 just a few months ago, and now it's $12, which is a massive increase in cost for one staple food item. So, of course, you're going to worry. And look, to be honest, the more you consume media that tells you to worry, and the more that you talk to people who are also worried, the more that the more that you're going to worry. What are worries? Worries are thoughts that repeat and cycle. And we're most familiar with the worries of lying down in bed at night, trying to sleep, and you've got this loop. And the thing is that so many of our thoughts are a loop because our thoughts come from short-term memory. They come up from a deep place, but they inhabit short-term memory. And it's like a bit of a goldfish. You sort of go in a series of thoughts, then you get to the end and you go, oh yeah, okay, I've thought that before. And then your mind literally starts in the beginning again and just goes on this loop. And we call it worrying, we call it ruminating, and it's the stuff that keeps people awake at night. What it is, it's your mind's attempt to avoid a future threat. So one of the things that we do as human beings that's pretty amazing is that we can predict the future. We're actually pretty good at it, but unfortunately our mind does get ahead of us. And your mind's going, well, look, if I run out of money, well, then I may not be able to pay my rent, and I may not be able to pay my mortgage, and then my partner will be dissatisfied with me. My kids will be less happy and unable to go to the schools they're going to. I won't be able to buy the things that I need for my family. We won't be able to eat. We won't be able to pay our rent. We won't have anywhere to live. We'll all be out in the street. And that anxiety gets driven by this worst case scenario. So what your mind's trying to do is it's going, well, these seem to be the facts that the mind perceives. And then your mind's trying to go, how do I solve the problem? How do I solve the problem? And a lot of the time, unfortunately, these lives are unsolvable. These problems are unsolvable, or you don't have the tools or the resources to solve the problem. I mean, interest rates are going up. Your mortgage is going to, the interest rate you pay has already tripled in about the last 8 months. Nothing you can do about that, but your mind is still trying to solve the problem of it. Have I missed no? All right. So what I'm tuning into next is the kinds of thoughts that you're likely to think, and we're going to contrast this at the end of the webinar with an abundance or a wealth mindset. So this is your scarcity mindset. This is the kinds of thoughts that are likely to leave you feeling helpless, hopeless, unworthy, insufficient, and generally take you into an unhealthy spiral. And often this is where people go with their worries. You worry, and then you go, okay, this is really hard. I'm tired of it. There's so much that I can't control. And I'm a victim. I'm a victim of circumstance. I'm a victim of government policy. I'm a victim of international economics. I never get what I want. I've never been able to afford the things that I want in life. And I see that person over there that I went to school with or that I work with, and there's a picture on Facebook and they're driving a fancy car or they're having a nice holiday, and it's so unfair. They get what they want. I don't get what I want. People often have thoughts of, I'll never really amount to anything. You might be able to resonate with some of these thoughts. Because of my past, I can't move forwards. I'm destined to be a particular way because of the way things have been all the way up until now. Well, things have always been this way, so I've got no reason to hope that they're going to change. Every day feels like a disappointment. I wish it didn't have to be this hard. Other people seem able to do it, but I can't. I don't know how. I don't know how. Don't know what to do with money. I don't know how to get wealthy. I don't know how to feel financially secure. I'm stuck. Why is it so easy for other people? It's just so unfair. So that's your scarcity mindset, and it's based on a core belief that I'm not enough. If I have these thoughts, then I have a core belief that I'm not enough, that the world is a hard place to be, and that the life is fundamentally unfair, and that I'm not able to get what I want either because I'm not good enough or because I don't deserve it. A way out of the loop, and this is a tool that I absolutely use, and if I go to bed and my mind is spinning, I've got a really low tolerance for it nowadays. My life's just too busy. I cannot afford to have a poor night's sleep, and I've got sleep apnea, so I'm having a poor night's sleep anyway, so I need to get as much as I can. But if I've got something spinning around my head, I just wake up and I use the notes on my phone. I pull up the notes on my phone, and whatever I'm thinking, I just write it down. And then when that thought cycle tries to start again, I just go, I've written it down. I don't need to be on this loop. And if new thoughts come, it's like, all right, get up, write them down again. It totally reduces the worries. It gives you a reason to say to your mind, "No, that's enough. We're not thinking about this anymore." It really helps you sleep better, and it also you go back to those notes later, or even actually you go to sleep and your subconscious mind works away at the problem. Particularly if you can end up with, well, what's the question? What am I? I'm trying to. My mind's trying to solve a problem here. What's the problem that I'm trying to solve? So you focus on the problem you're trying to solve, then you can focus on the solution. What is it that I want out of this? What is it that what is it that I need? What is it that I'm trying to make happen? What's my goal? And then you can actually start to move towards a better outcome. All right. So you can put an expression in the chat, or I encourage you to open up a Word doc, or open up the notes in your phone or on your computer, or whatever you use to put notes on. If you've got a scrap of paper with you, just jot it down. Don't think about it. Like, what's your relationship with money? How would you describe it? What's your relationship with money and finances? Um, you've got a relationship to your kids, you've got a relationship to your parents, you've got a relationship to your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your spouse, you've got a relationship to your employer, you've got a feeling about that. What's your feeling about money? What's your relationship to money? You might find it not easy to sort of put your finger on, but I want you to make a start. And really what we're doing is we're encouraging you to ask this question: what is my relationship with money? What is my relationship with money? What's my relationship with finances? What's my relationship to the world of money and finances? Do you hope you might just win the lotto? I often say to people, there's a question called the miracle question. Ask the miracle question. If a miracle occurred and everything worked out exactly as it should in your life, what would happen? And people go, I'd win the lotto. And it's like, yeah, that'd solve everything, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, we know that everyone who wins the lotto ends up exactly where they were. I think it's between 3 to 5 years. Yeah. So most of them, they go broke, they declare bankruptcy, and within 3 to 5 years of having millions of dollars, sometimes multi-million dollars, the majority of people who win the lotto are right back where they started from. And it comes down to money mindset. An expert in this field talks about, he's got this metaphor: water always finds its level. And it's true. Like, you can level up water. If you've got water in a pipe, it always sort of levels out. And what he meant was, whatever your internal image of yourself is in relation to money, you will recreate that in the world. You will make the world in the image of what you believe you are worth. If you believe that you are worth $100,000 a year, you'll get $100,000 a year. If you believe you're worth $1 million a year, you'll make $1 million a year. If you believe that you are worth $100 million estate, then you will find a way to generate that $100 million estate. The difficulty is in shifting our beliefs so that we can have that view of ourselves where we believe that we are worthy, and we believe that we can have the financial security and means that we wish we could have. So it turns it from being a dream to a hope to actually a belief. All right. So how do you dig into your history? Well, what is your family's history? What's the story? What's your family story? What happened to your parents? I work with clients around this stuff all the time. I remember one client I was working with, the family, the dad went bust. Dad was a businessman. He was good at business and did quite well, and they lived in a nice house. But then he went broke. Boom! It seemed like all of a sudden they had to move out of their nice house in the suburbs. They moved in with the grandparents. They all shared this small house together, and they just remembers this time of mum and dad fighting, and life being uncomfortable, and the grandparents having a go at the dad because, what are you doing? You made a mess of it, you're a failure, and just came out of this with, I never ever want to have to go through that again. I never want my kids to go through that again. And that story lived in him. And then I'm working with him still, and he's gotten past that point. He's like, I'm financially secure, but I'm still playing the same game. I've still got this desperate anxiety of there never being enough. And I actually had this conversation with him yesterday. I think he's like, when's it ever going to end? Even if I get to here, all right, I'll still feel this anxiety. And then I'll get to the next level, and I still feel this need, and I'm not actually living my life. I'm just keeping the fear at bay. There's such a difference between living my life and keeping the fear at bay. So what's your family's history? What's your earliest memories of money in your family? Write it down, just jot down some notes. You'll find that there'll be a lot of truth, a lot of gems coming through for you. And then think about the stories, the quotes, um, I should have come up with some of these quotes or truisms, but you hear these little axioms all the time. You would have heard them from your parents, and you probably hear them coming out your mouth every now and again. So, what are some of the stories? What are some of the quotes? What are some of the truisms, axioms that your family or childhood friends told about money, wealth, and those who have it? Um, a lot of us in Australia believe that anyone who's got too much, they need to be cut down, and so we then project that onto ourselves. We internalize it. They call it an introject. Actually, we internalize that into ourselves and go, oh, I better not be too wealthy because I've heard my family, my siblings, my parents, my grandparents really criticize people with money and give them a hard time, and I don't want to be one of them because then I risk being rejected by my family. Because if I do well financially, then maybe they're going to reject me. So, what are these stories that you tell? When you talk about money, what do you talk about? Do you talk about how much you haven't got and how hard life is? Do you really get into and feed into those conversations with people around, oh, the doom and gloom and what's going to happen, and is the economy going to collapse, and is the share market going to collapse, and is the property market going to collapse, and are we going to be able to pay our mortgages? Or do you tell stories about, yeah, everything's going to be fine. I'm okay. I'm quite comfortable. I feel like I'm on top of my finances, on top of my taxes. I feel like I'm making enough income. I feel like I've invested enough. I feel like I'm saved enough. I feel like I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get through this. I don't need to worry. And if I do have any worries, well, I'm just going to address them strategically. I'm just going to think, okay, well, what can I do about that? And what can I do about that? So, what are the stories? What are these truisms? What sort of conversations do you get into about money, about wealth, and about those that have it? And then, how does that make you feel? If you look at the things you've written down, I hope you have written some things down. How do you feel? Yeah. Which of these feelings, and there's one feeling on here that's missing, but we're focusing on the sort of the more negative side of it at the moment. Do you feel guilty? A lot of people feel guilty. They've got money. Oh, I've got money. Other people don't have money. It's not fair. Quick, I've got to give it all away. Yeah. Or even easier, if I don't earn it in the first place, then I don't have to have this guilt about having too much of it and then having to give it away. Do you feel desperation? Oh gosh, anything can happen. I'm going to be out on the street. The kids are going to be out on the street. I'm not going to be able to eat. Do you feel anxiety, like a constant worry? Do you feel stress, rage? You're angry at other people who managed to do financially well. Are you angry at that failure that you had, where you had the money, then you lost the money, you gambled it, or you made a bad investment, or someone else made a bad investment, and you're really angry about it? Do you have disappointment, or do you have satisfaction? Do you feel a sense of fun? Do you feel a sense of joy? Do you feel a sense of enjoyment? And I actually quite looking at how I do. I check my bank accounts and I see what's going in and see what's. And I have to do it because I'm in a business. I've got to do it for my business, but I kind of do it. I kind of like doing it, and whether it's up or down, I don't mind. I just what's going on. Because the feeling that you want to feel, if you want to feel on top of money, is that when you think about money, when you think about wealth, when you think about having wealth, when you think about people who are wealthy, then the feeling that you want to have is a feeling of confidence and a feeling of excitement. That this is something that's enjoyable, that this is something that's an important part of life, and that's something that you feel confident in managing and dealing with this. And we're going to sort of talk about how you work towards that. So drill down now, those feelings about money, the conversations about money, the history about money. What does all that mean about what you must therefore believe? Yeah, if these are the things I'm saying, if this is what I'm feeling, if this is what my family's taught me, this is what I've learned, what is it that I believe? What do I believe about money, wealth, and those that have it? Now, the best thing you can do right now is write it down. Yeah. What's your immediate response to what do I believe about money, wealth, and those that have it? Because the reality is, these beliefs drive your thoughts drive your feelings, and your feelings drive your behaviors. And so do your beliefs that drive your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors bring you closer to your financial goals, or do they take you away from them? Because if you're sitting on this webinar, it's quite possible that your beliefs about you and money in the world actually take you further away from your financial goals, because they're probably driven by fear and anxiety rather than confidence and excitement. You can ask yourself, because once you've drilled down to the belief, you can say to yourself, okay, so what's the consequence? What's the consequence for me? What's the consequence for my loved ones, the people I care about, of holding this belief or holding these beliefs? Because when you look at a belief, you can it's like a domino. You go, well, if I believe this, I think this, I feel this, and I do this. And it's like the dominoes just quite logically fall in the obvious direction, where that obvious direction is my life right now in relation to money and wealth. So this is my picture of it. It's gone a little bit muddled a little bit lost in translation. But this is kind of the model of thoughts and beliefs. We're going to move quite quickly now. On the left-hand side, you've got reality. Yeah. And then reality, we perceive reality through our perceptions. So we have our eyes, we have our ears. That's mostly it. We have our body to an extent. We can feel stuff, we can smell stuff, we can taste stuff. But those are the filters through which we perceive, well, those are the means through which we perceive reality. Now, that comes in and it hits our beliefs. There's my line there. It hits our beliefs. And our beliefs are like a filter that only lets certain stuff in. And that certain stuff is what we react to. Now, the model that we follow at Uprise for the most part is the cognitive model, which believes that in response to these perceptions, based on our beliefs, that they say we have a schema of intermediate beliefs, which are rules and attitudes and assumptions about the world. These result in automatic thoughts. So I perceive something in the world, I see the other person with a fancy car, and I go, oh, that's so unfair, blah, 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 blah. Those are my automatic thoughts. Those automatic thoughts then lead us to have feelings, emotions. I have an emotional response. Out of the emotional response, so emotion, the energy for motion, out of the emotional response come my words, the things that I say. I hate people like that because they think they're so good, and they're just lucky. They're just lucky that that's why they've got so much money and I don't. And our actions. We might shy away from things to do with finances. We might avoid our taxes. We might procrastinate around making a budget. We might go and spend money to satisfy some immediate discomfort. We spend a lot of money to satisfy immediate discomfort: entertainment, food, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, coffees. Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't feel good, I don't feel quite good, I'll just stick something in me, I'll consume something to make myself feel a little bit better. But all of that costs money. And then what happens is that our beliefs and our thoughts are now creating our reality that we then perceive, and on the cycle continues. So, big insight here: your thoughts, your beliefs create your reality, and they create a self-fulfilling prophecy about the world that you live in. So the first thing we want to do is separate thoughts from reality using mindfulness. If you go to the Uprise app, there's a number of mindfulness tracks, mindfulness modules. If you go to YouTube and type in mindfulness, you're going to drown in mindfulness. There's also some really good apps that can be recommended. The Headspace app, the Smiling Mind app, lots of opportunities. Mindfulness is our current go-to for separating thoughts from reality, because most of us don't. Most of us, we think, we feel, and that's reality. We forget that reality is out there and it's unavailable to us as humans. We don't. I can hold up my iPad case, but I cannot access the reality of that iPod case. It is outside of me. All I have is my senses to perceive it, and then I've got a relationship to it that is judged by my feelings. Now, my relationship to my iPod case is pretty good, because they're really bloody expensive for those that own them, and I feel really kind of proud that I own a pair because they're really good. They go really good sound in going in, going out. And I quite like them. So I'm quite attached to them. So I've got a good feeling in relation to that. We have that in relation to everything in the world. And we need to realize that that is not reality. My thoughts are not reality. That's the first thing. If I believe my thoughts, if I believe what I believe, if I believe that what I believe is the reality, then these are the consequences. Feel bad, and this is straight out of one of the Uprise modules around financial mindset. I feel bad. I feel resentful. I can be unproductive. I can feel like not trying, giving up. I feel like I have to hide who I am. I can act in ways I don't want to. I can get angry, defensive, grumpy. I can treat myself badly, go into autopilot, lose confidence, procrastinate, feel bad feelings that I really don't like, and I just want to make go away with drugs and alcohol and food and bad relationships. I can feel less than others, compare myself to others, etc., etc. These are the consequences of believing our thoughts. So that first step, realize that your thoughts aren't true. And one of the things we do with thoughts, if you've written some of those thoughts and beliefs down, look at them and look at one. You've asked that question: is it helping or not helping? If it's not helping, if it's not taking you towards your financial goals, then you can write down 3 reasons why that thought or why that belief isn't 100% true in all situations at all times. And it's a way of loosening that belief and going, hang on a second, this thing that I'm believing, it's not really got a good connection to the world that I live in, and I can start to deconstruct it, and I can start to loosen and weaken its hold over me. Here's some good reasons why thoughts aren't true. Just looking at the time, so I'm going to move more quickly. Sometimes the opposite is just as true. Someone said or done something that means the thought can't be totally true. Other people have told me reasons why it's not true. That lets in different, we've got these filters. We can let in some different information. Hang on a second, there's actually all this other information that suggests that what I'm thinking, what I'm believing isn't actually true. When I don't believe my thoughts, I act differently. So true. I've overcome similar problems in that. A lovely question. This comes from Byron Katie, who does the work. You can just search for BYRONKATIE, the work, right in the chat. And there's lots of free resources online. And this is a question that she asks. She's a she. That she asks. She says, go back to that moment. In that moment when you thought that thought that triggered an emotion, that then triggered a behavior. Ask yourself, in that moment, without that thought, who would I be? Take away the thought, who would I be? People say, well, I'm just people say, I'm just a person in that moment. I'm not doing anything. Where previously their thought and their emotion had been so compelling that they felt they had to act on it. But actually without the thought, suddenly my range of choices really, really opens up. Then you can ask, well, what's the opposite of that thought? So if you've got a thought about money where, only bad people have money, people won't love me anymore if I'm too wealthy. You ask yourself, well, what would the opposite of that thought be? Anyone can have money. Anyone can be wealthy. Even if I'm wealthy, even if I'm financially secure, I'm still lovable. I'm still kind. I'm still generous. So how can you turn your thoughts and your beliefs around? And realize that when you change the thought, you change the feeling. So if you are able to think, if you're able to turn that thought around in your own mind and you think it to yourself, if you're sitting alone or if you're got your pad and paper, write it down. And you can tune into, what do I feel when I think that thought? And you realize that if I think a thought, like the classic thought is, I'm not enough. If I think a thought, I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it, a feeling comes with that. If I think the opposite thought, I am enough, I am worthy, I do deserve it, I can even feel it in my own body, I'm just pretending. The feeling that comes is completely different. Change the thoughts, change the way you feel, and then you change the consequences. You change the way you behave, you change the way that you respond to situations. Doing therapy, the goal for almost all therapists, of all persuasions, is to get to that core belief and change that core belief in a way that works for the individual. Because once you do that, the reality changes around the person. I see this time and time again. You change your beliefs, you change the way you think, and then you change your entire reality around you. People start responding differently to you. You start showing up in the world in completely different ways. So you got if you got a new belief, new thought, then you have new emotions, then new words come out in your mouth, new actions come from you. You go, I'm going to do my taxes. I'm going to get onto it. I'm going to go and check out the share market. I'm going to go and check out property. I'm going to go and talk to the bank. I'm just going to go and do stuff. And then that creates an entirely new reality. So change your thoughts, change your reality. This is the money mindset. You want a money mindset, a wealth mindset? This is, if you go back to that original list, you can't, of course, but it's the same list, but just turned around. Life isn't always easy, but I'm up to the challenge. I know that there are things that I can't control, so I'm going to focus on the things I can control. I know what I want, and I have the skills and resources that I need to make it happen. I'm always seeking out new information and learning new things. The past is past. My focus is on the future. I am proud of what I managed to achieve today. Today, I'm grateful for the little things in life that I already have. I believe in me. I can do it. I am enough. I am worthy. The only person, this is a great one, I've shared this a lot with people, the only person I compare myself to is the person I was yesterday. Comparing myself to other people is just a waste of time. I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to leave you with this, and if we can have the link to the feedback in the chat please, Teresa. This is a really, really nice definition of happiness. I use it with my kids all the time. Oh, I'm not happy because I haven't got this and I haven't got that. And I say, guys, if you want to be happy, it's really simple. And it's really simple. The definition of happiness is wanting what you've already got. And of everything that we've talked about, that is probably your best starting point. If you can look around your life and you go, you know what? Listening to Nigel Dyer today, I've realized what I've got is what I created. What I've got is what I've been wanting up to this point. So no matter what it looks like, what I've got already must be what I want. And if I want what I've already got, you know what? I'm pretty content. I'm pretty satisfied. I'm pretty happy. And then I've got a solid platform without all of this negativity and critical thinking around that. I've got a platform, a firm platform to go, you know what? I'd also like a little bit more financial security. I'm happy with what I've got. I want what I've already got, but I'd also like a little bit of that. And then you get your mind to go, okay, what's my first step? Who do I talk to? How do I talk to them? What do I say? What do I tell them? What do I ask for? What do I need? All right, thank you all very much. End of session. We do have a bunch of stuff in the Uprise modules around financial mindset. They are evidence-based, they're proven to work. Give them a go, and you'll see there also kind of a reflection of a lot of the stuff that I've talked about today. Thank you all for your time today. I really hope you got something from today's presentation, and that you are able to turn those thoughts around and turn those beliefs around and believe in yourself and your value and worth for abundance. Have a good day.